Hi, folks, and welcome to Parkdale Plaza here on Treaty 7 land or Calgary, Alberta, Canada. My name is Jordan, and this is the Landscape Examiner, where we take a deeper look at the landscapes designed in and around our cities. Parkdale Plaza is a small plaza along the Bow River Pathway in Calgary's northwest, beside the community of Point McKay. It houses a large concrete sculpture by artist Brian Toller called Outflow. Outflow is said to be an inverted Mount Peachey, which is a mountain in the Rockies about an hour west of Calgary. Mount Peachey is the highest peak in the Bow River watershed, and therefore flows directly towards this moment in space and time. The artwork is situated over and as an extension of a city stormwater outlet, and therefore draws a critical comparison between the type of water that flows from the mountain and the type of water that flows out of our urban storm drains. The plaza and artwork are positioned as an intentional break in the flow of traffic along the otherwise fast flowing riverfront trail. I'm sure there have been many cyclists and runners who have experienced a moment of irritation as the path suddenly zigzags awkwardly around or through the outflow sculpture. There is a narrow steel grate bridge that bisects the sculpture, from which you can get a better view of the interior. However, this bridge is designed more for slower paced pedestrian usage. You can choose instead to go the circuitous route around the sculpture, but the plaza is paved with cobbles and has suffered somewhat from slumping, so the terrain is fairly uneven. I'm not totally sure why this type of old world cobble was chosen for the paving, other than that wider paving joints generally contribute to greater stormwater porosity from the surface, which is thematically consistent. Historically, Calgary has been the site of numerous sandstone quarries, which have supplied stone to various historic buildings throughout the province. The cobbles and the rock in the Gabion walls refer to this geological and industrial history. The plaza is flanked by a series of benches composed of three planes of intersecting materials. There is a base of gabion walls that extend into the adjacent softscape areas, doubling as planter walls, elevating the soil level and increasing the insular properties of the trembling aspen planted around the plaza. On top of these protruding gabion walls are placed slatted timber bench seats, and behind them are monolithic concrete backrests. The concrete backrests are inscribed with elevation above sea level numbers, which are approximately 1,058 meters above sea level at this point. There is a subtle reference to a tertiary water source into which both our stormwater and rivers will eventually outflow. The theme of convergence is continued in relation to the freight train across the river, which runs past this place frequently. The narrative's intention of drawing the passerby's attention to the various levels of context that this place occurs in is amplified through the insistent volume of the nation crossing train. I rate Parkdale Plaza as an 8.5 out of 10 for storytelling. The sculpture works in tandem with the landscape to convey a well thought out narrative. I appreciate that there isn't a big sign explaining the artwork, which would feel heavy handed. This is a place that invites engagement and interpretation. For accessibility, I give the plaza a 7.5 out of 10. The cobbles and slumping ground would likely affect a wheelchair user's ability to navigate this spot. The pedestrian bridge offers an opportunity for shorter people and children to explore the interior of the sculpture. Lastly, I give Parkdale Plaza a 7 out of 10 for ecosystem services. I'll certainly return in the later spring and summer to see what perennials and grasses pop up alongside the aspens, but right now the plant palette is quite limited. It is, however, a very small space that doesn't necessarily need to perform a profound ecological function, especially being a part of the wider Bow River Greenway system.